All right. Hey, everybody. We see we've got a few folks that are joining early. Thank you so much for being timely. We greatly appreciate it. Can Time is honored to be able to host this for y'all today. You are all muted. You can type in your questions down in the question and answer bar. And please do, as the presentation continues, we will address them at the end of the presentation. And should we run out of time, we'll be sure to have that documented and respond to each of you individually. We will be getting started at the top of the hour to be aware of everybody's time, but I promise you, you're come to a good thing today. This definitely applies to everybody. So I'm going to come back on in a couple of minutes after a few more people are on, let them know the same thing I just told you. And again, we'll get started right at the top of the hour. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I see there are people filing in. I would love some engagement. Does everybody know where the comment section is? If you know where the comment section is, go and let me know where you're coming from. I am from Chattanooga, Tennessee. So I would love to know where you are from. It's kind of a beautiful day outside.
Ohio.
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
Manchester, Ohio for the representation so far. And if many of you may not know me and Clint, but we are married, so I can testify. He's also from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
I am originally from Fort Myers, Florida, but we left there when I was like 5, so I don't know if it counts.
San Antonio, Portland.
Oh, Portland. I love Portland. And your Medicaid is awesome out there.
Oh, Tamika, your dad is from Small World. Well, say hello to your dad from us.
Brooksville, I have been there. I have been
Florida.
to Brooksville, Greg.
Well, there isn't a whole lot here, but if you want to go somewhere, it's not too far away.
That is not.
But just a little bit south of that is awesome Tampa. So you get to experience all of it, the beaches and the city, just a little bit further south of them.
That's true. And Tampa is where a lot of my relatives live actually currently.
Oh, Clint, you guys are going to have to come down here and we'll have to kick around down here in Tampa then. Make it into a family and a business trip.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Absolutely. That might be interesting as well.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to check the parole hearings to see if all my family can come. So.
Oh
no!
Wow, really?
No, he's got jokes. He's got jokes, people.
All righty, just another quick return. We've got a few more folks that have joined. Really appreciate everybody joining us today. Quite a few online. We'll be getting started right at the top of the hour. You're all on mute, but you have every capability to type in the Q&A or chat, as our guests have suggested. But the Q&A will allow us to respond to your questions at the end. So as this progresses, if you have questions, please take a moment to type that in there, and we'll make sure that we address them at the end of the presentation today. We will be getting started right at the top of the hour, and thank you so much for all those folks that have joined early. I show that the time is currently 1:55 p.m. Eastern, so we're right at 5 minutes. I'll jump on one more time shortly before we get started and look forward to presenting this to you today. Thank you.
More people are filing in. Thank you for getting here early. We would love to know where you are from. So if you see the comment section down below, let us know where you're at. I am from Chattanooga.
Right now, Ohio's in the lead.
Yes.
Ooh, San Antonio. I didn't see Jill was from San Antonio. Yeah, there's Teresa's from Ohio as well. Indianapolis.
Has it started to get warmer up there yet? I'm from Florida.
Oh man, I don't think it's if last time I was in Indianapolis, it was January and it was not warm at all in Indianapolis. Yeah, not at
Yeah.
all.
We actually got down to 32 here in the morning yesterday.
Oh my Lord.
Lots
Well,
of dead plants.
that I can't bet. That's hilarious, Teresa. A balmy 34. That's awesome. It's not snowing. I know. It's like if it's going to be cold, at least snow. Like our kids at least had a white Christmas here in Chattanooga.
No, I'm originally from Mississippi. I cannot drive in the snow or the ice. So only if I'm homebound do I want it to snow. I'm
didn't know-
definitely one of those Southerners.
Yeah. Coral
wife's-
Gables. That's awesome.
Where in Mississippi?
I am from Coria, Northeast Mississippi.
My wife's from Vicksburg.
Oh yeah, so she's on the the other end there, but
I like to say the reason why the state of Mississippi has so much trouble is because I met, married, and removed the best thing the state had to offer.
Clinton says something similar to that. He always says it's great to be from Mississippi, but not in.
It's a great place to be from.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself there. All right, just so y'all know, we've got about 2 minutes before we're going to start. You're all on mute. If you have questions during the presentation, do type them in the Q&A area, and we will be sure to address them to the best of our ability at the end. You've come to a good place today. The information we're going to present is applicable really to any organization, and it's good information, and we're happy to host this for anybody that's attending today. We've got several hundred applicants to registrants to attend, and see y'all filing in early. We thank you so much for that. But right now I show it as about 2 minutes before the hour, so we will get started shortly.
And I know with him announcing like that, like the ride is about to begin. You know, I feel like I'm buckling my seatbelt. Please keep your arms.
Real.
Yes. Buckle up. Please keep your arms within the ride and get ready. Because here we come.
Strap in.
Yes.
It is. I know you mentioned applicants, hundreds of applicants. That's where all of our mind is today. I can tell you
Yes.
that.
Yeah. How do you figure out which ones to talk to?
You talk to all of them.
we got a pretty good plan of how to actually qualify them. So that's coming up a little bit later. So, ooh, Gail's from Chesapeake, VA. Anybody else from Virginia out there? Sherry. Chesapeake's pretty. I've been to Chesapeake a couple of times. My dad was a minister, so like the entire eastern seaboard, we like visited in this little Toyota truck with a camper on it. Like that's what we did.
I've got a truck, but it's not a Toyota. I had a Toyota back in the 80s.
Well, I am that typical mom who said, I will never have a minivan. And guess what I have now? I have a minivan.
That's true. Our first minivan, because when we got married, I was all about it. Like I'd grown up in vans, you know, right? And my dad was a minister, so like traveling, you gotta have it. But so we got married, and I was like, yes, we can finally get a minivan. She's like, no, we don't have kids. So eventually, I traded her Lexus in for a minivan.
She was like, it's true.
Yeah.
I love a minivan though, and all the features that you can have in a minivan. Those automatic doors.
That's what sold me. Those doors sold me.
Man, they're comfortable too. Like and you know what? You can drive like a race car driver in a minivan. Don't let anybody tell you can't. Because you can.
That's right. Anybody out there like minivans, put in the chat. If you're a minivan fan, I am a minivan fan. I've been one for years. Yeah.
Oh, Tamika.
Love it. It's the best thing ever. I learned to drive in a 3/4 ton cargo van, like extended cab cargo van. So man, it's like having a truck with a hood. It's awesome.
I have to pop on the camera for this one. I love a minivan. Like the minivan is how I got my license. Like when I finally got to drive, I parallel parked in the freezing snow, ice in a minivan. Minivans are in my blood. They're in my room. And
they're fantastic.
I love a minivan. So
They are.
I had to show the passion for the minivans.
No.
Like I'm passionate about recruitment, retention, and team development. But girl, you talk about a minivan, and I'm like, let's go.
Hey, you want to take that team anywhere? You take them in a minivan.
Exactly. Get close, like pile in the minivan. There ain't no shame in my minivan game.
That's right.
Better remember that. All right, folks, we've got a little bit at the top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and get started. One last reminder, you're all muted. That's so we can hear these intelligent folks tell us their knowledge today. If you have any questions, please go ahead and type it in the Q&A area because we want to make sure we address them at the end of the presentation today. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Now, we at Cantime are thrilled to have so many join us and would like to introduce our speakers today. Today, we're joined by two agency owners that started with just a measly $3,000 in their pocket and have grown it into a multi-billion-dollar business organically. Now, they have a passion for giving back and helping other agencies find success. And in doing so, they have also established a consulting business to help agencies learn from their mistakes and successes while they live and breathe the industry with you. Now, we're honored to host this webinar and share their wisdom with all of the folks that have joined us today. And ooh, there's a bunch out there. To get started, I want to introduce them both. And let's start with Jessica Nobles, owner, Nobility Care Solutions. With over a decade of home care leadership and knowledge, Jessica Nobles worked her way up through every position from caregiver, operations coordinator, and franchise developer. As the founder and owner of Nobility Care Solutions, a multi-state in-home care agency, she turned a $3,000 investment into six figures income within the first year. I would be interested in this presentation too. Now, as a nationally recognized speaker and the executive administrator for home care ops, she mentors and empowers other owners and operators to create unlimited success through grassroots marketing, creative community engagements, and referral partnerships that generate recurring revenue. Say hello, Jessica.
Hello.
And now I'm honored as well to introduce Jessica's business partner at work and in life in general, Clint Nobles, founder and operational methodologist, home care ops. As an operational methodologist, Clint brings over 20 years of business development and management experience, and he likes minivans. In this role, he has helped both local and national corporations across multiple industries refine and adapt their operational structures. Now, driven by a passion to end owner exhaustion and operator burnout, he founded Home Care Ops to help revolutionize care agencies across the nation. As a nationally sought after speaker, Clint empowers others to create duplicate systems and operational strategies that generate lasting success and help them take true control of their businesses. Now we will put you in their great hands as they share tactics for mastering the most common problem across the post-acute industry: recruitment, retention, and team development. Sir Clint, you have the baton.
Thank
Oh, wait,
you.
I lied. I'm supposed to handle this. Go ahead, take it, Clint. I'm sure.
All right. Thank you so much. I want to just really say a quick thank you to Kristen and Greg and really all of their incredible team at Cantime. Y'all have been a tremendous support and encouragement to us and allowing us on here. And then also to all the participants here, the hundreds of participants that have come on, and I still see we have plenty flowing in. Thank you all so much for coming today. Jessica and I are humbled to be here, and we are excited to be teaching you a little bit of the information that we've learned both through success and I'll be honest, mostly through failure. And learning what worked, what didn't work. And we're going to be covering a couple topics here. Number one, we're going to talk about understanding the quality of the candidate, not just the requirements of the position. And we're also going to be talking about creating opportunities for engagement, growth, and validation with your team. And then lastly, developing systems of accountability and consistent, credible leadership. And I want to just do a little bit of housekeeping here as we get into it. If you have any questions at all, we'd love to answer them. Jess and I love engagement. So if you would just put your questions in the Q&A tab at the very bottom of your screen there, and you can put them in the chat if you want, but we may miss them. We might not get them. So make sure to put your Q&A questions in that Q&A tab, and we will get to every single one that we absolutely can. So if you will, we can advance to the next slide. We're going to start off by talking about quality versus requirements. And one of the main things that is really striking everybody this year, we say everybody this year, but in reality, recruitment's always been an issue. I mean, give me a show of hands out there in the chat. Give me a thumbs up or raise your hand. Like, who has always had issues with recruitment? I know we have, because we own and operate a home healthcare agency. And I mean, it's incredible. I mean, the hands are just like, it's like popcorn out there right now. So this is something that we're all interested in. And to start off with, when we created our agency and we really started understanding recruitment, we had to understand the first thing that we needed to change was our mindset. And in an environment like it is today, where we feel like people are maybe better served better paid staying at home than they are coming to work, and we feel like we have all these obstacles against us, this is where mindset comes into play. And the mindset of a recruiter is one thing, but we want to teach you today the mindset of a recruitment marketer. See, when it comes down to it, recruitment is selling. Now, what you're actually selling is opportunity, the ability to come and grow and develop within your company. But we can't look at it as this one-way conversation where we pick up the phone, ring, hello, hey, guess what? You won the lottery. I'm going to offer you a job today. Ha! And obviously you're going to say yes, because, as we've all found out, they can say no, and they can say it pretty decidedly. So this mindset change we had to understand was how to understand what a recruitment marketer was. And when it comes down to it, recruitment marketing, we have to create our strategies just like we would be if we were getting new clients or creating a new sales funnel, whatever that may be. See, we're not going to go out to our clients and tell them, hey, look, these are all the requirements that you have to have. These are the elements that you really need to get down and know. And before you ever talk to me, make sure you have this. That's not going to net us much success. No, instead, we need to go in and let them know the benefit and value that we add to them. That's the mindset of a recruitment marketer. And one way you do that is through something called an employee value proposition. And we have a very simple guide that we produce that y'all will have access to on how to actually create this employee value proposition. And basically what an employee value proposition is it's a moment in time and just a statement that informs the candidate of the value you bring to them. Because remember, this is a two-way street here in recruiting. See, the employee or the applicant is coming in, bringing their skill, their abilities, their work, right? Their time. They're bringing all that to the table. So in return, we need to show them how we're compensating for that, and we're adding value for that. And compensation isn't always monetary. It can be in the value that we add to the training, to advancement opportunities. All of these things are built into the value that your company adds. And as a recruiter, we have to understand that if we want to truly succeed and truly have unbridled success in recruiting new candidates, then we have to understand that this is a two-way conversation, and we are here to offer an opportunity for them to grow, build, and develop, because it's not just the generation we're in right now. That's what we want out of a career. That's what we want out of life, is to grow, build, and develop. So we have to understand that recruitment is selling. And beyond that, we need to understand how to focus on why they want to join our teams, rather than just what we need from them. What is something about your company, your agency, your home health facility that actually benefits them and adds value to them. Why do they want to come and be a part of it? That's the mindset of a recruitment marketer. It's not just about what they can do for you, but it really is about how we can grow and build together. And Jess, you and I have had tremendous success with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And whenever it comes to recruiting, we would never, let's talk about this in a marketing, because we're talking about being a recruitment marketer. We wouldn't go to a potential, patient or client or referral source and try to sell them on our services by listing all the responsibilities or all of their roles, what it would include. No, we give them all the highlights, the programs that we have that will benefit them. So when it comes to a recruitment marketer, you want to think in that marketing mindset. What can we offer to them? What can we highlight to them that will attract them and want them to join our team and truly see the benefit of joining our team? And that goes into hiring quality and developing skill. And just a little bit more about me. Now, I started as a caregiver, like I was a family caregiver. And then along my career, I started as a non-clinical care aide. I went, got my CNA, and there someone saw something in me and knew that I could be more. And they began developing me, and they offered me the opportunity to go to RN school, and to continue growing. And that's how I got started, and kind of what led me to where I am today. It's because someone offered a training program, something that I didn't think at that time I could financially achieve, or it was something that I could really attain right then. But because someone took the time to develop me, because I was quality. Now, I was a quality hire, but I didn't necessarily have all of the skill up front. So as you're beginning to build kind of your EVP, what makes you attractive? Because we have to be attractive to applicants, for applicants to come in. We have to continue to be attractive to the employees that we have to retain them. But really look into building an advancement structure that can be attractive. And always look at the quality of the hire. Look for people who represent the core values of your brand and match, your ideal employee avatar that you have created. And you're probably asking, what is an ideal employee avatar? That's just where we list what do the people that we are going to recruit and hire and continue developing, what do they look like? What do they need to possess? And many of the positions out there, they require certifications, they require licensing, and we understand that. And then there's some people that is a good hire, especially whenever you have the opportunity to offer those continuing education programs. Really consider building programs in there that could advance and enhance the lives of your employees. And investing in your team and helping them grow is so important, not just to them personally, but as they grow, you'll begin to see your company grow. Because our businesses, what are they based on? They're based upon the quality of care that we provide every day. Now, how is that quality provided? Is it by just the people here who are on this call? No, it's by the teams that we empower and develop. So, whenever we are going through our applicant list, and I hope right now everybody is just getting overloaded with applications. I know that's the goal. Right now, it may be more challenging. And I know before we even started this webinar, Greg was even like, how do you know who to call? And sometimes we go and we uncheck the people who may not have all the certifications that we think that may be a requirement within our company. But I encourage you to look at each and every applicant and then really have a good qualifying process as part of your application process and your new hire process. Because a lot of times there's a lot of people out there like me who I may have been a quality hire, but I didn't necessarily have all the skill yet that I needed. but someone took the opportunity and the time to say, hey, you have the quality. Now we're going to develop the skill. And that goes to the leader's touch. Now, something that you're going to hear throughout this webinar is something called touch points. And with Clinton does such a wonderful job at really bringing out the leadership qualities of people. And so I'm going to turn this over to Clinton and let him talk about the leader's touch.
Thank you. And when we go into this and understanding the leader's touch, if we could back it up one slide real quick, because I want to get this right. Quality should be the only measuring stick by which we evaluate our teams. And we can go to the next slide now, because it's important to understand that as a leader, we are truly evaluating based off quality, skill, and not just what we need, right? Because as a leader, it's not our responsibility to be the best at everything. And if you're multitasking, if you're whatever you're doing, come back to me right now. Like, really, come back to me right now, because what is so important about this is that as a leader, we are not expected or should be the best at everything around us. But instead, a great leader should bring out the best in everyone around them. So no matter who you're hiring, no matter how qualified, how skilled, what tenure they have, it doesn't matter, because as a leader, your responsibility is to bring out the best in them. And to do that, one of the first things we have to do as a leader is we need to evaluate our systems and our processes to understand where we have these built-in touch points. So what am I talking about when I say touch points? Touch points are opportunities for engagement that are present and built in, whether you're creating them, you're establishing them, or they're already there. For example, an applicant puts in their application. At that moment, there is a built-in touch point, because someone they absolutely have to respond to them. And we should be responding to everyone, whether they're a good fit, whether we're going to hire them, no matter what it is, we should make an effort to connect with everyone. We need to automate that process as much as possible and build that automation so that it still has a personal connection to it. Because every moment that we have, whether it's an email, phone call, text message, maybe you send out morning meeting reminders, whatever those are moments of engagement. Those are opportunities for engagement that we can continue to build, grow, and develop our team, and really harness the power that comes with engagement. Now, in our agency, when we really started putting into practice this doctrine, if you will, of what I call the leader's touch, we started seeing a tremendous change, because we used to have an automated system where when they put in an application, it would spit back just a generated email saying thank you for it. They could finish their application here. There was all kind of things they had to do. But when we started looking at this as an opportunity to build loyalty, a moment to really build a connection with our people, our agency changed and our recruiting conversions revolutionized, right? We're big on, we have an entire course. We have of Facebook, of how we recruit and market through Facebook. And it's part of our Action Leader experience that we teach how to use Facebook. And one of the reasons we did that is because with Facebook, we could make direct connection. We could respond in a friendly and an engaging fashion and direct them to our company and show them on the front end what we were as a company. And this is where that EVP comes into play, that employee value proposition. Because when we're evaluating all of our systems and processes to see where we have these built-in touch points, that's a perfect opportunity to see where we can reaffirm what value we are adding to them. And it can be as simple as, and I'll use my agency at Nobility, we understand the importance of skill. And that's why we focus on training. And we have, an industry leading 20, 40, whatever your training course is, 20-hour training course that all of our providers go through. And we use these moments of engagement to reaffirm and use positive reinforcement for the value that we're adding. That way, when it comes time that they come in for the actual interview, or maybe you're doing virtual interviews, you've already built a connection to your agency for this applicant. They already believe in what you're doing, or at least they believe that you believe in it. And that is one of the most important elements. So when you're creating a plan of action that builds trust and loyalty, we have to understand that the buy-in that we're doing, it happens in these touch points. And Jess, when we really started really adhering to this doctrine of the leader's touch and really reevaluating all of our processes on where we could use positive reinforcement and reaffirm the value that we're adding to our people, what did you see in our recruitment strategies and conversions as a result of it?
Oh, well, we definitely saw our conversions from applicant to employee. We saw that increase drastically. But what we saw that was even more encouraging was the retention. The retention of not only our new hires, but our existing care providers. And in the comments, I would love to know from each of you, for those who can comment, is it retention that you are really needing the most like inspiration, encouragement in, or is it recruitment? Are you needing those new hires? And because recruitment and retention are as equally as important. And, with business, we have ebbs and flows. And I know right now, just with the way everything is in the world, a lot of us are really trying to recruit, and we're always wanting to retain. No matter what is going on in the world, retention is something that we always want to have. So it's important to recognize the impact of a touch point and what we're talking about with touch points. Because I know whenever, we first really started talking about this, we were just looking for opportunities to get that buy-in and be relatable on a personal level. So now but touch points, they go both ways. We want to be engaging and reaching out and presenting those opportunities that we can really connect with our applicants, our new hires, and our current team. But also, whenever your team or an applicant was to reach out to you, you don't want that touch point to be ignored. That can be one of the most dangerous things of all. So when we are able to talk with agency owners all over the nation, and a lot of times whenever they're really struggling with retention and they have people who are quitting or their satisfaction levels are low, the one thing we ask them is not only how are you engaging with your team, but how are you responding to your team? Being able to know that whenever an opportunity to connect from your team comes in, or whenever they're expecting, you say you're going to do something, send out an email or respond to them or give them an answer to something. Make sure that that communication is being met. You never want to ignore an opportunity to build buy-in from your team, because remember, as important as our clients and our patients out there are, everything that we do is really made possible by the teams that we develop. So it is up to us. The responsibility is in our hands to make sure that our team are prepared and they have the tools that they need to be successful and offer that skilled quality care. And remember, touch points, that's how you build that trust, that loyalty, that respect and authority. And that's what.
And real quick, but I don't mean to interrupt, but Charity and Avis both bring up a really good point in the chat. And Charity's talking, and she says that they tend to lose candidates pretty quickly. And the reason I kind of interjected real quick is because, Jessica, you have a really great understanding of kind of some of the potentialities and the reasons behind why we may be losing candidates quickly, like when they come in. And if you could just touch on that really quick, why is it when we do all this work and we put in all this labor to recruit and build people into our company, that all of a sudden it seems like in the wink of an eye, right, in the blink of an eye, they are gone almost as quickly as they came? Like, how can we avoid that?
Well, whenever we're talking about applicants, usually if they've applied with you, they've applied at other places. So being able to respond to them in a quickly manner is important, but it's not the only thing that's important. Being relatable, being memorable is also huge. When we teach all of our team and all of our action leaders that whenever you reach out, to make sure that you're relatable, always be professional, but also be casual. And then it's important that you put in automatic ways to respond to people. Whenever we do our recruiting, when people apply, we have automation set out that they are responded with an email. And if we're using social media to recruit, then we'll have a direct message go out that's automatic, but it doesn't sound like, a robot in the computer sent the message out. It is in their lingo. We meet them where they are and we talk with them like we want to get to know them more. And if you talk with someone, we have something called qualifying calls. Once the applicants come in, they get that automatic message. But within the first 7 days, we like to reach out and personally call them. That qualifying call is only 5 minutes, but that 5 minutes makes a major difference in the buy-in that we get from our applicants so that they actually show up to their interviews. And then at the interview, we even build more interest and buy-in because we make it about them. It's not about what they can do for us. The first thing that we say whenever they pick up the phone is, and I am so excited about this opportunity to talk with you. I would love to know what made you decide to apply with Nobility. And then we turn it about them and what we can offer them. So that's one way that you can ensure that the applicant becomes that new hire, is to be relatable, build that buy-in, and let them know that you are interested in them and you're interested in letting them know what you can do for them and not just about what they can do for you. And that really goes to our next talking point. And that is systems of accountability. And Clinton, do you want to talk a little bit more about the true measure of value and a little bit more about accountability?
Yeah, I would love to. These are two topics that really are a passion of mine. And earlier, Greg was talking about, and he said, kind of my mission is to, really help end and eradicate owner exhaustion and operator burnout. And how many of us out there have come to a place where we feel like the only the only thing we ever feel in life is either exhausted or completely done with it. I know that was a huge element for me in our agency when we were building and developing. I felt like I was wearing all these hats and doing all these different things. And let me know in the chat, is that something you've ever felt, that you feel like all I have is either exhausted or I'm done with it? Because that's a sad place to be. That's a depressing place to be internally. But see, there's hope. There's hope to get out of that. And what I learned, and this hope that I finally found, the hope that I finally found was in the truth that of what value really is. See, I was valuing the wrong things, and I didn't understand how to truly value something. See, the only real metrics by which we can measure something's value is by the level of accountability that is assigned to it. Now let me say that again, because if you're multitasking, come on back. This is real important. The only real metrics by which we can measure something's value is by the level of accountability that we assign to it. Now, what does that mean? Very simply, if there is an accountability attached to something, then it doesn't matter to us. it doesn't matter how much we talk about the care we deliver or the services that we have or the integrity of our brand. If there isn't accountability measures built into our company, into our systems, then those things don't really matter. What really matters is whatever we are following up on and asking, is that done?
Yeah,
So
and a way to kind of put that in practical, actionable content on how we make accountability really, it works for us. It even helps with recruitment and buy-in. Something that we do within our recruitment process is the applications come in, we send them an automatic message, and then we call them and we do that 5-minute qualifying call. And if we feel like, okay, this is someone that we really want to see ourselves moving forward with, we'll send them a digital document that asks them to, put their previous history and authorize a background check. And but just by sending that document, it's amazing because we tell them, now, as soon as we get this document back, we'll give you a call back, we'll schedule that interview. But we're seeing how they're going to follow through and if they're going to be dependable. And are they accountable? And someone was asking about retention as far as whenever you retention and competition. As far as competition now, competing right now with, this agency may be offering more perks and this hospital may be offering more incentives. Something that we have found that we can really capture the people is by putting something in place that they feel like, okay, that they are following up, they are following through. And not only that, I can trust that they are going to continue on. We talk to so many people who say, I get a call, I put in an application, but then it never goes. They don't put me, they don't hire me. I'm not sure that I could trust that this company would give me hours. So within building your retention system, with building your recruitment system, make sure that you're building in opportunities that of accountability, where you ask them to do something and see if they follow through. And the same thing for you. If you tell them, hey, this is what we're going to do, I'm going to send you this, then send it. Operations has this wonderful way, and a lot of people think, oh my God, operations cannot be fun. Operations is an experience. And if we look at the measures that we put in place for accountability, at the measures we put in place for engagement, then we'll see that what operations is the opportunity for us to be able to create and design the experience that we want our people to feel, that we want our new hires to feel when they come in. So that gives us a head above our competition, just by being able to create a system of a wonderful experience, of a great relatable experience. So Clint, talk to us about the lost art of operations. Who would have thought operations was an art?
it really is operations. And just like Jessica said earlier, when we think about operations, oftentimes we think about the mechanics of what operations is. We think about the admin duties or whatever it takes to mechanically and functionally get through the day. But the truth is, operations is all about the experience. Everything involved, whether it's client experience or it's your recruitment experience, whatever that is, operations lends itself to that entire experience. So this is where those touch points come into play, and understanding how to create the systems of these opportunities for engagement. So with these touch points, we create moments that allow us to transform the mechanics of business into the momentum of business. And that's a tremendous thing to be able to do, to take the actual mechanics of business, the things that seem so boring to us and so routine and have so much repetition to them, and use those moments to create an experience that builds momentum. And you think about it, when you apply at a place or someone is applying for your agency, with that, in that moment, they start an engagement journey that keeps them connected and keeps them together. And right now, I know Kimberly in the chat mentioned how difficult it is to recruit during COVID. Recruitment and retention is so difficult during COVID. It is. And that is one thing that we all are battling. I know we're battling it right now within our agency and understanding how to bring and all of these things to bear. But the reality is recruitment and retention has always been a battle. It's not just all of a sudden a battle. Sometimes it's harder than it is others, but it's always something that we have to fight and get in there and really work at. So taking that mindset of this recruitment marketer, this team developer mindset that I was talking about earlier, and understanding that, yes, it's tough right now. It can be tough right now, but you know what? 2 years ago, it was tough too. 3 years ago, it was tough too. It doesn't matter the time. There's always been challenges. So yeah, there may be a little bit more of a challenge now, but that doesn't mean it's uncharted territory. See, you're already incredible at this. You've already shown how amazing you are at this. Don't look at the moment and let the moment define your future. Let your ability, skill, and determination define your future. That's what a real leader does. That's what the real leader's touch is about, is understanding that the environment does not affect my ability and my determination. These are the things that I hold dear and I will always hold to. So with operations, we have to understand that this core experience that we are talking about is available in everything, including our new client intakes, new hire intakes, training, recruiting, marketing, your admin duties. All of these processes within operations offer incredible ability to connect, engage, and build relationships. See, systems of accountability, the true measure of value that we have for things, plays right into this lost art of operation. Because if we establish these opportunities for engagement, they have to be important to us. They have to be so important that we establish follow up and follow through. We create systems of accountability to ensure that the emails go out, that the connections are made, that the follow ups occur. See, the true measure of what something's value is the accountability that we assign to it. So when you find something, you create these touch points in your company, in your agency, and you've created and established these moments, they need to be important. See, I call it the lost art of operations. Number one, I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. I'm a huge adventure novel fan. Dirk Pitt, you name it. I love it. Jessica absolutely said I could not wear my fedora today to talk about this section. But if not, I would have had a fedora on right now, because the reality is this lost art of operations, there's treasure in it. There's gold, there's silver, there's amazing value here. And that value needs to be known to us and to our team. See, the experience must be valued enough to create these moments of accountability to ensure that those touch points that we have created are followed through on. Jessica, when we started really working in these systems of accountability, that was something that you weren't on board with when we first started into this. And there was some good struggle in that, wasn't there?
Absolutely, because one of the things that I thought with systems, with all of this, systems and technology is what Clint brought to the table. Now, I've been in home care and home health, and I've been in this all my life, all of my career. And so Clint come in from this corporate, operational methodologist. He wasn't in home care. So whenever he come on board, I thought I knew everything there was to know. I knew people, I knew the industry. And so whenever he started saying, oh, we need automations, we need systems, we need, everything has to have a procedure. And I thought, man, that takes the personal aspect out of it. And then he started talking about all these touch points. And I was like, wait, he's talking about all this personal connection and interaction. So even before COVID happened, I was like, I'd already had my crash course on how to use technology and automation and systems to truly create more time for me to be more personable and for me to engage. And I know right now people, a lot of people are saying, how can we be more personable when we can't even hardly meet in person, right? COVID has had this way of everybody is now holding on to their laptops and phones, for any human connection. It's crazy, isn't it? But we were able to really make our entire process engaging. I mean, right now, are you engaged in this webinar? Does it seem engaging to you? Even though right now you're probably looking at me and I may be a 1-inch, little box in the top of your screen. But when you're relatable, when you're open and when you're friendly, a lot of it has to do with our approach on how that we deliver our presentation and how open we are. So I really encourage you to look inside yourself and say, okay, if I was sitting on the other screen, something I love to tell our applicants whenever we're on, a virtual interview, because those are the things now. I mean, more of us are having virtual interviews than we are in person. And I like to say, thank you so much for welcoming me into your home. Those walls begin to drop and you become more relatable. And that goes a long way into creating those touch points Clinton was talking about.
And to add on to that, in these moments where you're doing these virtuals, something that I've found really effective is to turn the table on them, because they're sitting there ready for you to ask all the standardized questions that they're ready to give. And I use it as a moment to acknowledge their authority in that moment. Now, don't sneer at me when I say their authority in that moment, because as business owners, we think of ourselves sometimes as this kind of aloof character that I am offering you this job, be grateful, Ward. And but in reality, we need to at the front end, we need to acknowledge that this is a two-way street. So I'll do this. This is how I do it. I'll sit down. Thank you so much for joining me on this today. I know it's crazy, right? Having to do all these things virtual, but it gives us a chance to kind of change things up a bit, because you need to know about me, right? Now I've got this resume from you and I've got all this information about you. Let me ask you something. What's something you want to know about our company? What's something that's important to you? And instantly at that moment, I've taken that virtual interview that seems so stoic and cold, and at that moment, I've given them the ability to have a sense of control and authority in it. All of a sudden, I'm telling them, look, I have information on you, but I didn't apply to you, did I? So now's your chance. Ask me, what's something that's important to you that my company needs to know and that we need to do for you? So all of a sudden, I take a virtual cold interview and I turn it into this warm engagement opportunity. That's a touch point. And that's that leader's touch when we get into it and we understand. And then on top of that, the value, right? The measure is accountability. When they tell me something, if my company does that, or maybe my company doesn't do that, man, that's really good. I really appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Something that we love to do is listen to our people. And I would love to, to learn more about you. Now, after we get through this, if this is something that you want to be a part of and, we want you to be a part of, that's something I would love to really get into with you and understand a little bit more, right? You've set up a moment of accountability. All of it works together. See how it's gears? It really is gears. When I talk about these things, in my mind, I see one gear coming into another, because that's really what the lost art of operation is allowing each member of your business, each system of your business to fully support. And the very next thing that we're going to talk about here is called consistent and credible leadership. When it comes to being a leader, when it comes to creating these touch points, when it comes to really feeling like your team is bought into what you have and what you believe in, because if we don't believe in it, our team sure won't. That's lesson number one, right? That's the free one, right? Everybody understands that if we do not believe in what we are doing, our team won't either. Now, does that mean you get up every morning just super happy? This is what we're doing. This lights my fire. Maybe I'm that way. I love it. I love what I do. But it's finding what your passion is in it. Maybe it's building people. Maybe it's helping them grow. Maybe it's teaching, instructing, caring. Out there in the chat, let me know in the chat, what are you passionate about in your position and your company? Let me know. What are you passionate about in your company? Not just about what you do, but in your company. What are you passionate about? Because the consistent leader understands that. See, authority is tied to consistency. If we are inconsistent in our leadership, our authority wavers, it goes away. But if we are consistent in the things that we say, if Tuesday being 5 minutes late was not acceptable, then Friday, when we really needed them to show up, or I was going to have to work, or I was going to have to go in, it still is unacceptable, right? It still isn't the way it goes. We have coaching moments and we bring in coaching, but it's still moments of accountability. Why? Because that's what we measure its true worth is. Okay. So consistent leadership comes down to the fact that a consistent leader will reward merit above all else. I have something that I call the doctrine of a meritocracy. And I used to ask this to all my applicants when they would come in. And I would say, do you know what a meritocracy is? And I've never had anybody know what it is, right? If you have, raise your hand if you know what a meritocracy is. So with a meritocracy, and I would say, well, what that is, see, that's when somebody is advanced based on ability, not just skill. See, and in the dictionary, the statement is the advancement of individuals based on ability, not just skill. See, because skill can be one thing, but ability can be something totally different. What Jessica was talking about earlier, that quality, they might not have the requirements of what you need, the skill of what you need, but by God, they got the ability. They can learn, they can grow, they can develop, believe in your team, and then reward that. Tenure is fantastic. And if your agency or your company has advancement opportunities that are solely based on tenure, then you need to really dig in and figure out where you can create some moments of engagement to reward people on merit. Because merit is what will make them feel validated and valued in their position. And a consistent leader will consistently reward merit above all else. See, integrity, principled, and driven results, those are all characteristics of a consistent leader. And when it comes to credible leadership, Jessica, you have so much credibility with the applicants when they come in because of your history, because of the things that you've done and the way that you walk. And it even plays into when we coach and mentor other agency owners and company owners in how to build and develop their systems. That credibility comes through the experiences that we have had. And if you could kind of lead into this with, what does it take to be a credible leader?
The one thing that, I've already said it multiple times, it's being first relatable and then building the trust of the people. And whenever we were doing a lot, now I don't do as many interviews on a daily basis, although I still do it on a monthly basis. I love being able to connect with people initially. We've always heard first impressions are everything. The same goes for the first time you call someone or the first email that goes out. It's building that first impression. And I love for that to be relatable. And also, whenever I'm asking them maybe what their previous history is, or whenever I see that their qualifications or their certifications match anything that is within my own history, I like to share something. And I'll just frame a question. Now, as a nurse out in the field, one thing that I really look for, one thing that I really enjoy, I let them know that I'm right there with them. I'm not someone way up on this totem pole that just took a few minutes out of my day to call them to see if they could fill my need, but I make sure to create those moments of engagement. And so.
And what about And you can actually take this whole point here because
Okay.
you're really good on follow through as well. She's probably better at follow through than I am.
Whenever follow through, and I know follow through can be hard because it's time consuming, and that's why I love automations. There's a lot of tools out there, and I know CanTime, they have some wonderful tools within their system that can really help you automate so many areas of your business so that you can truly focus and have time to create those moments of engagement that are personable. But when it comes to follow through, set up your automations and then be consistent with follow through and let them know that they're important. Have you ever walked into a meeting and someone forget you're coming? Or you log onto Zoom and someone is 10 minutes late and internally, they really forgot about it. And then they just happen to see the email pop up that you were already waiting and you no longer felt as important. Well, that's why follow through is important. If you're following through consistently and the person on the other line or out there waiting for that email or their response, they feel important. They feel like they are valued as long as we have that consistent follow through. And if you tell someone you're going to send an email by the end of the day, you want them to count on it happening. You don't want them to have to think at the end, when it's 4 o'clock is there, oh my God, she's probably not going to send me that email and I'll have to go through the trouble of calling her again. You want to build the reputation of following through and then following up and following through again. And coach your people. Something people call me, even our own care providers, they'll say the boss is here. And I will tell them, thank you so much. I respect that, but I am your leader. I don't want to be known as being a boss of my people. I want to be known as a leader. I am with them and I am pushing them to the top. I am developing them as I grow. So I encourage you to be a leader in your industry, a leader in your company, a leader in your agency and to your team. And coach, don't just direct. Ask why and how instead of here is how. And we love to get our team involved in the different things that are going on, in the aspects of care, in some of the change that it's happening. Have you ever had that patient and you're trying to get them to do something and they just are going to have it their way? But then you can say, let's take example, clothing. You can tell them, let me help you get dressed, or are you ready to get dressed? No. Or you can say, which one would you like to wear, the red shirt or the purple shirt? You're giving them options, but the end result is still that they get dressed. We need to take that approach a lot of times rather than directing our team on what they should do. Instead, we coach them and we develop them to what we're trying to achieve with them. So be a coach. And in our company, we have something called Corrective Encouragement. And how many people has give corrective actions? They've wrote somebody up, they have really just had to crack the whip on someone. Within our team, it's called Corrective Encouragement. And we tell them, look, sometimes you may do something that doesn't meet our expectations. And we may have to give you a little corrective encouragement, but that goes two ways. If we as leaders are failing you, or you are not satisfied, or we are dropping the ball, we're going to take that constructive encouragement and we're going to see how we can improve the overall experience, because we value our team's input and we follow through and we create those moments to have team built solutions. Remember, we are working at this together. And if we can get our team on board, what we once saw, how many people have saw, your care providers and your employees, if we don't watch, we'll see that they look more like liabilities than they do assets. And it's so important that we see the value in each and every one of our employees and every single one of our care providers. And we let them know that they are an asset and we value them. We value their feedback and they can count on us to follow up and follow through with the things that we have said that we are going to do as their leaders. And I know right now, I want to be mindful of everybody's time. I don't have it's 2:55. So we're going to go ahead and begin opening it up to questions. Clinton, do you want to kind of sign off the webinar for us, and then we'll open up the question board. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this has been really great, and something I always coach and mentor our leaders on is that a consistent, credible leader is focused on creating a solutions-based environment. That means your entire team brings solutions, not problems. They think about it from a how can we work this mentality. And there's a quote that's been attributed to President Harry Truman and several other people, but the basis of it, it says, there's no limit to what we can accomplish if it doesn't matter who gets the credit. And as leaders, sometimes we can get caught up in wanting to make sure that the quality and the advancement and the good things that are happening with our team are not credited to someone else, or maybe our recognition is not coming the way we want it. See, a true leader, a consistent, credible leader understands that whoever does the work has the merit, should get the credit. We understand that and we believe that. But in doing that, we have to understand that when our team succeeds and it grows and develops and builds and the strength is shown, that is a reflection on the leadership, not just those that were a part of this build. That's reflects on the leader itself, themselves. And that's what's so important. And I know, Jessica, as everybody's getting their questions together, and please, just start loading up that Q&A box down there, letting us know what's happening. Jessica and we created a host of helps, including we have a thing called the Master Operator's Guide to Recruitment and Retention. And we even have a monthly membership that's called the Action Leader Experience. And actually, I saw when the people come on, I actually think we have a couple action leaders on this webinar today. But it's a tremendous moment where we give actionable strategies, and we have coaching sessions and all that. So as we go into this Q&A, understand that what our passion is to help, and that's really what I want you to understand. Our passion here is to help. So what questions do you have that we can answer? Because I know we had several coming through the chat and through the Q&A. And can attendees, someone's asking, this is probably for Greg, can attendees receive a copy of the PowerPoint?
Yeah, we'll take care of sending that out in a little bit.
Okay.
Awesome. And as the questions start coming in, has this been beneficial to y'all today? Are there elements and nuggets within this that you're going to take back that are actionable? Because that's what's important to me. We want to make sure that when we help and coach and mentor people, that we're giving actionable content. So let me know in the chat, raise your hand if this has been something that is encouraging to you and it has actionable information.
And something someone asked is, how do you address the issue of competition, being competitive in your field? And one of those things, it's good to know who your ideal employee avatar that we talked about, who are you trying to attract? Really understand, in some areas, especially if you're not doing a lot of COVID patients right now, safety, being able to say that you offer, a lot of people are forgetting to say that they offer PPE. Also let them know that their safety is priority, that their health is priority. And a lot of times it's as simple as the headline on our post, our job post. If you're not getting a lot of applications at all, go in and reevaluate your headlines. We have simply switched headlines. At first it may have said, hiring care providers in the area. And then we switched it to hiring care providers paid weekly, come join a team that cares about you. And in the same amount of time, one received 8 applications and the other headline that said join a team that cares about you received 37 in the same few days that we were kind of seeing what worked and what didn't.
It seems like a lot of the questions are coming into the chat, so the Q&A, Jessica, but I've got one here that says if you are in a role that is technically not leadership role, but the leaders in the company do not follow a lot of these rules or guidelines. Do you have suggestions on how to approach this? Have you had employees come directly to you about your leadership style?
Well, I've kind of been in that situation before, to where, I was in a position to where I felt like the leadership was not necessarily following things the way that it should. And the way I approached that was, very respectfully, and letting them know, hey, I see that there are some areas of opportunity that we could really improve the overall experience for our team and for the people that we serve. And then I would ask them, are you open to us discussing some of these areas of opportunity, rather than saying, hey, you need to improve in this area? Rather an area of improvement, we call it an area of opportunity. So that's a good way to present the need to discuss it with them. But if you are unsatisfied with the leadership above you, I encourage you not to sit and let that build, but talk with them. Find a way to open up the communication between you and them.
And there's also a really good book on this topic, in case if you do not know about it. It's by an author by the name of Clay Scroggins, I do believe. I know his first name's Clay. Don't quote me on the last, but Clay Scroggins, and it's called "How to Lead When You're Not in Charge." And if that's a situation that you're dealing with, or maybe you're mentoring someone, more than likely that's in that situation, go check out that book. It's by Clay Scroggins. It's called How to Lead When You're Not in Charge. It's a really good book. And quite honestly, leaders in general should read this book, because it gives a really good mindset to how you should think about leading.
That's really true. I used to be a campus president in my other life, and just because you're the boss doesn't mean you're necessarily in charge. You just have different bosses, of course, unless you're the owner of the organization. So that's
Then
probably
everybody's your boss.
well, that's a good mindset. Clearly part of why you've been successful. There's something here in the comments, and I don't believe the PDF of the PowerPoint will provide them with this. So I'm going to pose this question to the two of you, but they're looking for examples as to how to make applicants feel important. So can you throw out a couple of jewels out there to the audience and perhaps share some ideas?
Yeah, some ways to make them feel important. One thing is the way that you approach them and the communication flow between them. And also having an organized system whenever they apply, from the moment they apply to the day that they start their first day on the job with you. It should feel very organized, and the communication should be very efficient between you. If an applicant applies and the communication is all over the place and there's no real structure or system, then that can affect the view of them moving forward with your company and the buy-in that they're going to have.
Now here's another question, and this is probably a good one to look at, especially with your experience as originally a startup. We are a startup company. How do we gain trust?
Once again, it's about building authority. And we all had to start somewhere. We started small in a brand new town where nobody knew us. And first off, we collaborated with a lot of other people who had already built authority in the industry. And then whenever we said that we were going to do something, we did it. And we were organized in our efforts. And also, it can be as simple as having professional looking marketing merchandise, a professional website, and a professional way to gather their data and respond to them can go a long way. And you going from being a startup to you being respected. And we were a very well-respected startup very, very, very quickly. And we didn't instantly, 3 months into our 6 months into our first year, we had already cleared several $100,000 in revenue. We had made some incredible connections, and within just 2 years of opening our business from a startup of $3,000 with no backup plan, no liquid assets beyond that $3,000 for licensing and insurance. We had an agency that was large enough to support the largest senior focused event to happen in Tennessee. And it was great. We did it in collaboration with 27 other incredible established companies within our area. And it was because of the authority and respect that we built from the get-go.
And that event had over 660 55 and older at it. Like that, it was a massive event. And to this point, if I could just really quickly, I know we need to get other questions, but to this point, it's important that if you're just starting up, to set down and hopefully you've already created a budget. You've already created, how this is going to work. But in this, you need to sit down and understand what are the priorities for spending.
Yeah.
Where you spend your money, because if you're just starting up, you need to focus on a way to make your marketing deliverables something that people won't just set down. So if you have a business card, maybe put something on the back of that business card that's a help or a support, or maybe it's even a emergency contact card on the back of it that tells basic CPR, just something that they can then turn and put important information on that they feel like they need to keep with them.
Yeah.
And those things are important.
And something I know, I want to be mindful of everybody's time. We're already past the 1 hour mark. We have a Facebook group. It's over 2,000 owners and operators. You can go there for support, ask your questions. It's called Home Care Operators Community on Facebook. So if we don't get to your question today, you can go to that free group and begin posting your questions on the wall. And then we also have, the Action Leader membership if you want a little bit more encouragement and coaching like you've gained today. But we will answer questions for as long as Greg has time. So Greg, I'm looking to you to let us know. All right, time's up for today.
We'll give it 2 more minutes and
Okay.
then we'll shut it down. And again, Jessica and Clint will follow up with your questions if we don't get to all of them, since we have your email addresses from the registration. I put words in your mouth. Is that true?
It is true. Yes. Yes.
All right. So we've got a question here. Well, you can see it. It's right there. You can see the chat. I can see the questions. Why don't you look at that big chat question just came in and see if you can maybe help there.
Okay, let me see here. Are we talking about
Kimberly's?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Kimberly's. Okay. It says, Jess, I'll read it for you. What would you say is the best employment model for a young agency? Currently, we are caregivers are pool employees, which gives them flexibility with schedules, but can challenge with consistent fulfilling of shifts and growing the agency.
Okay. Okay. Well, anytime you're starting out and building your team, the one thing you need to get from the get-go is buy-in. And another way is have a way for the people that you do have access to. Make sure that you have created a hierarchy structure or a way for them to advance, or a career ladder, whatever you want to call it within your company, so that they can grow and feel like, okay, I can get in this company. They're going to invest in me, so I will invest in them. And with us, whenever we started, obviously we didn't have the funds to be able to salary people or give them guaranteed hours and all the stuff that people are looking for. But what we quickly learned that we could do is give them vision of saying, hey, we're going to grow together. So if you have, if people start out in whatever position it is, go ahead and let them make sure that they know what the next step is. And everybody that you hire, they need to know, and you should be trying to get them to that next step. You don't have to be a multi-million-dollar or, multi-level agency to be able to offer a hierarchy structure. And it's something that doesn't cost you anything to create other than time and vision, and really figuring out, okay, where are my people starting and where do I need them to be, and where would they want to be?
Yeah, and real quick, we have a couple other questions come in that I want to hit on. Kelly asked, how can you get information about the Action Leader Group? You can go to homecareops.com. We have information there, and it's there. It's also on. We have a lot of it on the Home Care Operators community on Facebook, the free community. Addison, however, asked, what are the tools considered pillars of being touch points? And they list out such as highlighting staff and newsletters, things like that. So when I talk about touch points, understand that if you want to know the pillars of what it takes to be a touch point, it's anytime someone has an opportunity for engagement. So if you're looking at a system and you mentioned highlighting staff and newsletters, that's moments of recognition, and those newsletters are touch points. See, because you can have a moment of, you can have an opportunity for engagement within that newsletter that goes out, but you might also have an opportunity for engagement when you call that person to ask them about a shift or to find out about after their first shift, right? So anytime the pillar, the defining element of a touch point is anytime that you are going to be physically engaged with someone, whether it's virtually like this, or you're actually working the shift with them, or you're training them. All of those moments are touch points. And it gives us the opportunity that within these touch points, we can create moments of recognition, moments of validation. All of that happens within these touch points. So Addison, I hope that answered your question there.
All righty. We went a little bit longer than I said we were gonna. We're gonna call it quits for today.
Sorry.
And we will. We've got everybody's questions, and we so appreciate y'all taking time out. We hope this was valuable to me. Heck, it was valuable to me. I hope it was valuable to you as well. And we so thank Jessica and Clint for your time, because time is a four-letter word. There's never enough of it. You can't buy anymore. So we definitely appreciate you sharing some of your time with all of us.
Well, thank you so much for having us, both you and Kristen. You guys are awesome. Can Time is awesome, and we really appreciate the opportunity. And for all of you that attended, thank you. You are who made this what it was. We love your questions and your feedback and your engagement. So if you are not a part of the Home Care Operators community, come on over there, because there's a lot more of this going on.
Yeah,
Amen.
thank you guys so much. This has been amazing. It really has. Great benefit. The engagement has been excellent. I did put the links in there. We are going to follow up with everyone and get you all the information. So if you don't know how to contact Jess and Clinton, you will by the time we're done with this. We appreciate you guys so much, and we can't wait to do another one with you guys. This has been excellent.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Have a great rest of the day, and have a great new year.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank y'all so much.